Welcome back to the Kenny and JT Show. We're so happy to have not only an interview scheduled right now, but a nice video chat with, I guess we're going to start calling him this right now, another local product that's done good. Dom Robinson from Canton, Ohio, played his high school football at Canton McKinley. Just earned a pre-draft grade of 6.3 at the NFL.com and just finished up his very first NFL combine. We couldn't be happier to have him join us right now. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, one and only Dominique Robinson. How are you, young man?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Hey, we're great, man. But we wanted to get you on because the last time I saw you was when you were playing quarterback for the McKinley Bulldogs. In fact, you're the last McKinley quarterback to beat Maslin. It's been that long, right?
Yeah.
And now you're going to the NFL as a defensive end outside linebacker. So we wanted to get you on it and take us through that journey of how you go from quarterback at McKinley to Miami as a quarterback, then wide receiver, and now to the NFL as a defensive end, Dom. How did this all come about?
It came about, well, when I graduated early from high school. I got to Miami the spring of 2017. And my roommate, who was also a quarterback, he was more of Miami's style of quarterback, pro style, could sling it a little bit better than I could. And that first spring, he was getting a lot of the freshmen, the young guy reps, and I was sitting back, just watching. And I don't like sitting back, not playing. So quarterback coach jokingly comes in the room and was like, hey, we may need some of you guys to move over wide receiver for the day. And because some of our wide receivers had gotten some academic trouble and stuff like that. So I took it serious, moved over, got a couple reps, got a couple catches. Coach Martin liked it. The head kind of liked it. So I ended up staying there for 3 years. And then at the end of the 2019 season, things just wasn't working out the way I had envisioned it. I had a really good season in 2018. 2019, I started off really good. And then as the season went on, playtime started to decrease, stopped getting the ball thrown to me. And I don't think it was just me. It was a few other guys that, things were just changing. And I knew I wasn't going to be able to get to the league based on playing wide receiver at Miami. So I went and talked to the head coach and asked to move to defensive end, and he liked it, so moved over, and here I am.
Kenny, this man's no stranger to transition. He transitioned from Canton Timken to Canton McKinley. He transitions from Canton McKinley to Miami University. He transitions from quarterback to defensive end. My question's got to be this. I thought you guys didn't like to hit.
Oh, man. Listen, I played safety and linebacker all up until my junior year of high school. I played safety at Timken. I played safety at Crenshaw. I played middle linebacker, like outside linebacker in youth football. So I'm good with hitting. I just
Were you always intended to be a quarterback? Did you always want to play quarterback?
No, I played running back.
Okay.
I was a running back. The only reason why I moved to quarterback is because Timken needed a quarterback, and it was my way to get on the field. So
Dominique Robinson, our guest here on the Kenny and JT Show, and we're so happy and proud of him. He just completed the NFL Combine, where he jumped 41 inches with the vertical, a 4.72 40-yard dash. So, Dom, what was the preparation like for the NFL Combine? And take us through that experience as a defensive end / outside linebacker for you.
Yeah, so I got down to – I trained in Fort Myers, Florida with company called X3. I got down there January 3rd, and I trained for about a month until I had to leave to go to the Senior Bowl in Mobile. And a lot of that training, I started my 40 training, started doing little things with the vertical, broad jump and stuff like that. But we did a lot more football stuff because I was still about to go play at the Senior Bowl. Once I got back from the Senior Bowl, well, I got married in between that time too, but once I got back from the Senior Bowl, we started preparation, started really digging in the preparation for the combine and pro days and stuff like that. And it was fun, man, being down there with a bunch of guys from different schools for 2 months in great weather. It was fun being able to, talk about things, be able to match up and do different things, watch somebody else do something and stuff like that. So it was a great experience.
Dom, take us through the process of being invited not only to the Senior Bowl, but how does the whole combine thing, how do you get invited to these things?
It's scouts. So scouts come throughout the season. They've probably been watching for a few years now, but they come throughout the season and they watch practices, they watch film, they come and ask, the coaches who's the top seniors and all this stuff like that. And then they come to games, they watch the games, and then they'll request, I believe they request to the combine who they want to see, like which guys do they want to see compete and which guys do they want to watch at the combine. And then that's how you get the invite to Senior Bowls. Well, the Senior Bowl, Jim Nagy runs that himself. He's the one who's doing all the scouting. He does that. But for the combine, it's scouts. The scouts come out and look, and then the teams have a preference for who they want to see run and stuff like that in person.
All right, so I want to go back to your senior year, your original senior year, right? It's shortened because of the pandemic, right? You played, 3 games, I think, your senior year at Miami?
Correct, yeah.
And so that's the first year you're making that switch from wide receiver to defensive end. So had you come out there, no offense, but based on lack of experience and the numbers, maybe you're not projected to be a second or third round pick, right? So that extra year, that super senior year, they call it because of the pandemic, how much did that help you raise your stock, make people aware of you to get invited to the Senior Bowl and to the NFL Combine and move on hopefully to the NFL?
Yeah, it was honestly, I see COVID, COVID affected people in different ways. COVID was a blessing for me for many reasons. When you're at school for so long and you don't see your family as much, that kind of takes a toll on you. So me being able to go home during the pandemic and be able to be with my family for 2 or 3 months, it was great. I enjoyed my time, but it also gave me time to work by myself on the position that I knew I wanted to play. It gave me time to craft and do things, work on the things that I knew I wasn't good at. So when I got back, it would help me out, and it did. So the pandemic kind of treated me well.
Yeah, one of the few benefits for some people out there, it benefited you. I'm looking at your numbers, 28 tackles, 4.5 sacks, 8.5 tackles for loss, third team all MAC, and congratulations on that. So here's my question going back to when you played QB. How much is it helping you as a defensive end rushing the quarterback, being that you played quarterback? Is there anything that's helped you in getting after the quarterback and sacking them as opposed to when you were playing it and avoiding the rush?
Honestly, I haven't thought about that, but looking at it now, I don't think so. It's kind of, just be fast off the edge. If you can beat the guy in front of you, hey, you get a sack. If you can't, then the quarterback is gone. We had a lot of scrambling quarterbacks in the MAC too, so that was tough as of a defensive line aspect because we have to keep our rush lane integrity and stuff like that to make sure he's not scrambling out and stuff like that. But,
So now you've had a taste of this defensive end, outside linebacker, whatever you want to call it. You tested out well at the combine. We know that. They start to make comparisons, and they can compare you to anyone. Who would you like to pattern your game after in the NFL? Or who do you compare yourself to?
Honestly, I don't compare myself to anyone. And I say that just because the position is starting to change. Mm-hmm. As you see, it's not even DN anymore. It's edge. Mm-hmm. So I want to be that first kind of guy to be like, man, that's the true definition of an edge player, somebody who can drop really well and rush really well. So, and that's kind of how I'm going into things. It's a few moves and stuff that I want to learn, but as of one individual person, I don't have one person who I'm watching that's like, man, I want my game to be just like that.
Yeah, we get so caught up in the sacks, and they're important. They're game changers, strip sack, fumble recovery, and all that. But an edge rusher that can not only get after the QB, but also can drop in coverage with the way the tight ends are being used. Dom, your athleticism, I'm guessing that's got to be something that's a major positive for you as teams look at you in this upcoming NFL draft.
Can you say it again? It kind of went out on my end.
Okay. As far as being an edge rusher, sacks are great, but now edge rushers, they've got to be able to cover tight ends as well. Your athleticism, this has to be a huge plus for you, right? When teams look at you when it comes draft time.
Yeah. So it was good being able to be at the combine and show my drop skills compared to everybody else. I'm not gonna lie, I probably looked the best out of anybody and all of the guys who I was on the field with, dropping and catching the ball and stuff like that. So being able to do that at a high level is going to be really good from on my end, and having that experience of playing safety and playing linebacker back even when I was little though, but having that experience to do that stuff helps.
Go back to this Senior Bowl. It's funny because my phone starts blowing up. As a former Camp McKinley Bulldog myself, anytime somebody makes good or makes national headlines, my phone starts blowing up. Now, Kenny was the first. Kenny starts saying, you know that Dom Robinson's playing in the Senior Bowl. Yeah, I know. And then all of a sudden, Gary Spino starts blowing me up.
Yeah,
oh my God. Dom Robinson tested well. So kudos to all these people that keep things real and keep us in the know, and we appreciate that. But I want to ask you, as far as moving into the NFL now, yesterday we read this story that you've been approached or been in talks maybe with the San Francisco 49ers. But what I want to ask you is this. Being a Miami, what's the, I always want to call them
RedHawks.
The RedHawks. Have you been approached by Coach Harbaugh with maybe the Baltimore Ravens? Have you talked to a Ben Roethlisberger, some of your famous alumni?
I haven't.
No connections there whatsoever. All right, what about the Browns and the Steelers? Have they shown interest in you? What other teams besides this San Francisco story that we're all reading about, what other teams showed interest in you or talked to you at that combine?
Yeah, so I had three individual meetings, 3 formal meetings with one with San Fran, and then one with Tampa and one with the Cowboys. And then when I got home, I met with a guy from Cincy. So, yeah, no Browns. I've met with the Browns. I've had conversations with the Browns outside of Combine and Senior Bowl. But it's been the Bengals Cincy right now that's been high. So.
Oh, that's a good team to have high on your list, possibly there with the Super Bowl appearance this past year. Dominique Robinson, our guest here on the Kenny and JT show. And Brian, let's bring him in because maybe you're not even in this situation if this guy now that's joining us on Facebook and on the radio, DanReardon, doesn't convince you, hey, don't just play basketball. What's that?
Where is he? Where's the sun shining? You can't be in Ohio.
I'm in beautiful Youngstown, Ohio right now, standing by a window.
So there he is, his former coach at McKinley, DanReardon, joining us as well today. And Dan, he was your quarterback. Now he's going into the NFL possibly as a defensive end, edge rusher, linebacker, whatever it is. Give me your thoughts on this kid that you helped coach to a win over Massillon the last time, as well as other victories at McKinley.
Yeah, so I've had a chance to be around Dom, a pretty good amount over the past year and a half or so because my son Matthew's down in Miami, and I've been down there a bunch of times for practice and games and so on, and had a chance to see Dom a bunch, but I'm just really excited for him. He's a fantastic young man, and I know whoever gets him is going to be a quality human being first and foremost, let alone a great athlete. But going back to his transition, he goes to Miami as a quarterback, and before too long has played receiver, and playing very, very well, and then segues to the defensive line, and I just think he has a ton of upside just with the limited volume of reps that he's had. I think John helped me out, I think 15 total games, and, for the most part, a situational player in pass rush situations more than anything. So I think he has a ton of upside in learning, and he's just going to get better and better and better.
Coach, I want you to take us back, if you could. You come into a situation, there's 2 high schools in the city of Canton. We combine to 1. Dom, you're at Timken. You end up coming to McKinley. Coach, you weren't here yet. You'd been here for a couple of seasons. All of a sudden, we go from 2 high schools down to 1. How did this all come about when you met Dom Robinson? Because obviously you didn't have the opportunity to coach him coming up with the youth programs and whatnot.
Yeah.
How did that work out for the both of you? Coach,
Yeah.
you
So,
first.
I remember, Dom and Lapeer Tolles were 2 of the first kids that I met, and they both were at Timken, and Rick Hairston really extended an arm to me and helped me, through the process of moving into town and all those things. But those 2 guys really from day one were great leaders. Now Dom had a little bit of a detour. He thought he was a basketball player for a couple of months there, and he was very forthright about it, though. The thing that I respected about him, most kids, if they decide that they're just going to focus on one thing, usually just you never see him again. And he didn't know me other than meet me once or twice, but came up like a grown man, shook my hand, said, "Coach, I'm going to focus on basketball. I think that's where my future is." And he didn't run or hide or anything like that. And again, a lot of times young kids just disappear if they decide to do something else, and you never see them again. And Dom was not like that. Dom was, always a very good communicator and just wise beyond his years, even as a 15 or 16-year-old sophomore, whatever he was at that time.
So, Dom, what about you? You're thinking, I'm just playing basketball, and here comes this new coach that you don't know from Adam, right? And he wants you to play football. How did that conversation go, and what did he say to convince you?
Yeah, it was a conflicting time, man. Here's the thing. I'm a Timken diehard, man. So when that happened, when that ended that basketball season, and I knew I had to be going over to McKinley. I didn't want to go to McKinley from the jump, but things happen. So I was like, man, I just want to play basketball. I just wanted to focus on basketball. And Coach Reardon was one, but Spino was another guy. Spino was a guy who he contacted my dad and was like, "Hey, like this kid's gonna be something. You should." Talk to him. Dad sat me down. I talked with Coach Reardon and everything, and rest is history. So got back into it.
So I have to tell you 2 stories about that process. So first of all, when during that spring's a heavy recruiting period where coaches are coming through and everything. Michael Zordich at the time, who's a Youngstown native, I've known him for 20 years or more. He was coaching in the secondary at the University of Michigan. So he comes in and Dominique's a sophomore. And I told Michael, I said, "Look, I'm going to pull this kid out of class. He says he's going to focus on basketball, but I just need you to act interested. Just maybe the light bulb turns on." And I don't know if I've ever even told Dom this story. So Dom comes out of class and Michael talks to him and, "Oh, hey, we're really interested," says all the right things. Dom goes back into class and Mike said, "You didn't tell me he looked like that." He was expecting me that I was pulling a scrub out. He wasn't expecting a 6'5" grown man coming through the door. And he said, "Look, just on his looks alone, we'll recruit him." So, that was one story. The other story was when Dominique finally decided or was, called me and said, "Hey, I think I'm going to play football." Do you want to know what he was most concerned about?
Yeah. What?
He was most concerned about how we practice when the weather gets cold. You remember that, Don?
Heck yeah, man.
So hopefully a warm weather team drafts Dominique if it's not one of the local teams. So he likes to stay warm, that's for sure. He was always bundled up.
Yeah.
That was something he took pride in.
Always bundled up. I'm gonna have something on me.
Well, and so do we then have to give Coach Reardon credit, Dominique, for you getting drafted possibly here in the NFL? Because without him convincing you, or do you think you would have ended up there anyways?
Nah, I give credit. I give credit to him a lot because he was the one who pushed he took us to a lot of plate, man. Recruiting, it wasn't big for me. I only had one offer. But I do appreciate Coach Reardon and everything he did and tried. We went to a few camps, more than a few camps. Freaking 10 hours to Boston College. Was supposed to go 10 hours to Iowa State, but 10 hours again was a little long for me, so I ended up committing. But I do give Coach Reardon a lot of credit.
Dominique Robinson, our guest, former McKinley Bulldog quarterback, Miami of Ohio, wide receiver, defensive end, NFL Combine recently, had an outstanding showing, going to get drafted here coming up at the end of April, early May, whenever the draft is this year. His coach when he was at McKinley, DanReardon, joining us as well. Dan now at Youngstown Ursuline, doing a great job there. And for both you guys, as we kind of wind things down here, I'll start with you, Dom, on this one. What's the ultimate goal for you? What's next? What is your goal since you got to this point? You're close. What's the goal now moving forward?
Man, the goal is just to continue to work. How I've always been. Stay out the way, continue to work, try to become the best player I become, prove people wrong, prove a lot of people wrong, I got a lot of things that I know I have to work on to get to to be successful at the next level. But the ultimate goal is to be a Hall of Famer, from being from Canton, having your head in that Hall of Fame is where you want to be as a football player. So that's the ultimate. That's definitely the end goal and to impact a lot of people.
Lofty goals. And Dan, do you have any doubt this guy can make it in the NFL?
No, there's no doubt in my mind. He like I said, he has a bunch of upside because he lacks experience at the position he's being looked at. And the thing with Dom's a guy who's just going to work and work and work and work, and he doesn't talk very much. And when he does, it carries weight because he is a relatively a quiet person. But I know how he works. He would come home from school when I was still at McKinley, and we'd have 8 a.m. workouts on Saturday mornings. And Dom's a college student coming in, right with us on a Saturday morning if he's home for a weekend or home for a spring break or whatever the case was. And that's just kind of kid he is. He's going to work hard at it. I know he's going to be successful because of that.
All right, JT, and I'll throw you in, all three of you guys, okay? Because I'm Switzerland here. I'm neutral. I didn't go to McKinley. I didn't go to Massillon. But the last time McKinley beat Massillon, these two guys, if you're watching on Facebook, okay, live, these two guys, one was on the sideline coaching, DanReardon, and Dom helicoptered his way into the end zone for the game-winning touchdown at Old Fawcett Stadium for a 30-28 win, I think the score was, if memory serves me correct. And JT, I'll start with you and then work our way around. We'll say goodbye. What do you need, JT, for these guys to maybe say or help out with your McKinley Bulldogs to get back on the right side of that rivalry?
Well, it starts foremost with obviously the youth here in the city and to reestablish the fact that in order to be a rival, you have to get back to that level and be able to compete with that team on a regular basis. And the last time we saw it, unfortunately, was when Coach was here. And, there were a lot of closer games, but recently it seems as though, and it's not just the team and it's not just, you talk about a winning culture, it's everything concerning the fanship and everything else. We need to reestablish the fact that we want to be on that same playing field. And until we can reestablish that, we're just going to keep going in the wrong direction. Unfortunately, or fortunately, whichever side of the fence you're on in that situation, in order to get back into that situation and make it a true rival, you've got to do what Michigan did to Ohio State last year, take it from there and baby steps and reestablish yourself. Coach, am I right?
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. I think that McKinley is the right guy. I think Coach Hawley Antonio is doing a great job, and he knows what it's all about. He was on my staff for a couple of years. My last 2 years, he was on our staff, and he's really a good person and really good football coach. And I know he's going to get things turned around. The thing that I would say, the 4 years I was at McKinley, we won the first game by 2, and then the next 2 years were both 1-point games. Then the last year was I think a 6 or 7 point game. It truly is one of those things where one play makes the difference in the outcome of the game. I mean, it's any one first down or any one penalty or ball security issue, or in our case, 2 of those years it came down to a field goal, and unfortunately we missed them both. And you make those field goals, and it's a whole different feeling for the next 365 days. But I was blessed to be a part of that rivalry for 4 years, and Dom's flip into the end zone to win the game in 2015, something I'll never forget.
And Dom, for you, you get the last word on this, and we'll let you all go. And we appreciate your time. Dominique Robinson, take me back to that John Elway-like helicopter flip into the end zone, and that's the last time McKinley's won that game.
Yeah, it was an experience, man. I threw a bad pick, the drive before that, and the only thing in my head was just, I got to go down here and score. Yeah, that was literally the only thing going through my mind. I was calm. I thought as I was going down trying to throw the ball away, I threw it didn't throw it at the ground. I threw it at a defender. He caught it, took it back, and came over to the sideline. Fine. Wasn't angry or anything crazy, and we just put a drive together and went down and scored. I always wanted a picture of like Cam Newton diving in the end zone, so I ended up getting my picture that I always wanted.
Yeah, you did. No question about that. And you've turned that into an outstanding career at Miami. And now we're going to be watching, waiting, and seeing what uniform you put on next in the National Football League as an edge rusher. We wish you nothing but the best. Keep us posted on things. We'll be watching on draft night. And we wish you, Dom, nothing but the best, continued success.
Thank y'all. We appreciate it.
Dan, thanks for joining us as well. Great stories from you. Continued success there at Youngstown Ursuline and with your son at Miami as well, all right?
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, guys.
How about that? Dominique Robinson, DanReardon joined the Kenny and JT show here on WHBC and on Facebook Live. JT, that's pretty sweet, man. Those
It
stories
really
like that. And
many great memories. And, we wish him the best of luck. We didn't even get into, if the NFL doesn't work, we've got the USFL right around the corner as well.
Right. Yeah, well, that third round draft grade is pretty good. So hopefully somebody takes him there, or if not, higher. And maybe if it's the Bengals, my goodness, they'd just be adding to the Ohio connection on that defensive line, right, with Sam Hubbard and company like that. Right. So thanks again to both DanReardon and Dominique Robinson for joining us. We're way past things here. We got to get caught up on stuff. Sorry, Brian Novak, but when you get an opportunity to talk to those guys like that, we take it a little long. Hope everybody enjoyed that. We'll come back with more of the Kenny and JT